What's up, everybody? Welcome to Knockout Sessions. It's your boys, as always, Julio, Milton.
Hola.
We said we would be here after 3:14. We're here after 3:14. I said it was going to be a Milton card. It was
You're fucking
clearly
lying,
a Milton card.
Piece of crap. You're dog doo-doo.
And in a world where there's upsets, things happen, and hospitalizations, we'll start with topic number one. Actually, before I get to that, hit the like, share, and the subscribe button. It's because I want to get this man already out.
No. Let's just talk about the event as a whole.
Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Para la gente en español, los capciones está aquí en la esquina. Ya saben qué pedo. But we're going to get right into it so I can let this man just air it all out. We start with topic number one.
The main event.
And new. Australia's very own. Aussie. Alexander Volkanovski defeats Diego Lopez by unanimous decision in a solid fight.
Explain solid to me, please. What do you mean by the word solid?
It was a fun fight. You know, each one got knocked down. Experience played a factor. You could tell Lopez kind of shrinked under the bright lights, and I'll say it here on record. Volkanovski's the greatest featherweight of all time.
I feel like we had a bet.
Did we?
Yes. What were you supposed to say on camera? I'm going to go back and rewatch our bet because we made a bet on this. Stay tuned. He will pay up.
I don't remember this bet.
Exactly. You're going to pay up.
I was supposed to say something on camera?
Yes, because you did not think Volk was going to win. Look, all I'm going to say is what I said beforehand. Volk is a pound for pound king. His losses came to Islam, a bigger fucking champ than him, right? And Ilya, who's been in an anomaly, right? Anything beyond that, Volk has dominated his division.
Yes.
Yair's, Ortega's, Max Holloway's, you name it, he went through them. Why would you have betted against this man because of some stupid curse? It's a will thing. Now let me tell you this, because we said this on the chat, and I 100% agree. If there's a rematch, I will not bet against Diego Lopez.
Okay.
Because Lopez came in here inexperienced, and I think he was too afraid to let his hands go against Volk. But the moment he did, he will catch Volk and he will freaking knock him out. I will not bet against Diego Lopez on the second one. I think the second one is a legitimate 50-50.
If it's immediately, no. Volk is still a favorite. Give Diego another one or two fights, he retools. Because you saw the major skill gap between the two of them.
Yes.
Like, Diego was flat-footed, following him around. He didn't know how to cut the octagon off. Volk had great footwork, kept circling around him, kept using his jab to his advantage. And because Volk was the more natural, smaller fighter, he knew how to bully him on the body. That's where somebody like Topuria, your anomaly, happens because Topuria knew how to cut the ring. He had good footwork. He knew exactly where to time Volk's pattern. Diego didn't show like his adjustments. And I honestly, when you look at the corner, I didn't see his corner telling him things like
no, they were just like, hey,
be aggressive.
You gotta fucking break him down.
Steamroll.
But they weren't giving him details like, how do I do this? What do I need to do? Right? Like, yeah, his corner was not giving good advice either.
Now, did he do some stuff that was good? Yeah, like he had a pretty good uppercut. He rallied in the late second round, but I think it was too late in the second round for him to rally like that. And then in the fourth round, I think is when he had his best round. Like you could see that there's early signs of greatness out of Diego, but it's just too early for him. And he's young. I mean, he said it himself. He's only been in the UFC for 2 years. He's skyrocketed through the rankings.
But yet somehow, Mr. Julio fucking weenie glazer decided that you're gonna bet against experience. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me.
It was historic.
Sometimes you just blindfold yourself and just open your mouth, and I don't understand.
It was historic. I would say that wouldn't be surprised if Volk won.
Oh, God, I hate you sometimes. I mean, I hate you all the time. God.
I'll say this. Because like you said, Volk is an all-time great. You wouldn't bet on him in the rematch. But let's assume Lopez isn't in what's next. We'll talk about what's next for Lopez in a bit. What's next for Volkanovski? It seems like it's the only logical explanation would be Movsar Evloev. Movsar is a good fighter. He deserves it. And Volk talked about that in the press conference after that, saying that he knows he's undefeated. He would love to take that O. I think Volk is a bad stylistic matchup for Movsar. Movsar doesn't pack the power punches that Diego does, and we saw that that's really the only chip on Volk's armor at this point now is that he's getting chinny.
You have to have fucking power.
He's getting chinny. Movsar's just gonna want to wrestle him to death, and I think Volk has enough experience and enough skills to kind of nullify that. So I think he can beat Movsar. Other than that, when you look at the rankings, you got Max Holloway, who's not a featherweight anymore. Let's just put that out there. Diego just lost. Ilya moved up. Yair, get to him in a bit. And then after that's Movsar, Arnold Allen, Brian Ortega. None of these guys really deserve it.
Not just deserve it, but again, he's already established his dominance.
The majority of them.
A majority of them. So this is where, if I'm being realistic, Volk maybe can just leave on top.
You want him to retire after Movsar?
I would. I mean, the only other thing that you would want to do is ask for the Ilya fucking rematch, but then you're asking to go up in weight. Give Ilya another advantage over you.
Ilya steamrolls him.
I mean, I'm not going to say no. You don't
want to see that rematch.
So it's and again, unless Volk officially decides to move up as well, but we've already seen that. You know what I'm saying? And he went top of the head, and hey, he was able to compete. The first fucking fight against Islam.
I thought it was a draw.
That was legitimately a win for Volk.
Maybe.
It was. It was a win for Volk.
Win, maybe.
No matter what, you know that he had enough in him to be competitive, but there's a difference between being competitive and being able to compete all over again. Because at the end of the road, you still have Ilya who beat the shit out of you.
As he should, always.
That's my point.
That's
my point. I think we've seen enough
best
of Volk.
Out of Volk at this point.
Yes.
But, I mean, I know Volk. He's already talking about being active.
That's fine. I mean, at this point, it's probably going to be 1 or 2 fights. We'll see the Diego Lopez fight, and then we're just going to be seeing the passing of the torch to Lopez, and then that's it.
Maybe.
Lopez is going to fucking be the last fight for Volk, unless he becomes a Tony Ferguson.
Maybe. There's other factors that can come in, like an Aaron Pico.
Again, I think those are for Diego Lopez.
Maybe. It depends on how much Volk wants to stay around.
No, there's no if, and, then, or but. It's just...
Because maybe Lopez gets a rematch with Volk if Volk still has his number.
Maybe.
When you have someone's number, you have their number.
Because, look, Diego Lopez starts round 1 swinging and fucking letting his hands go, right? There wasn't a single counterpunch that fucking Volk had that was stopping fucking Diego's momentum.
That's because Diego's got a granite chin, too.
It was Diego himself that stopped himself from getting the victory.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, Diego goes in there from round 1, ready to fucking take off Volk's head. He's going to take off Volk's head, and that's the end of it.
In a rematch. Because he adjusted.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes. Okay, so tell me what you want out of this, Julia. You're not explaining myself to me.
I don't think Diego's gonna get a rematch anytime soon.
But what do you want out of Volk? I keep saying.
What do I want out of Volk?
Yes, I keep talking and you don't even tell me.
There's really nothing that Volk has to offer
exactly,
anymore.
So fucking retire.
Well, yes, he could retire, but he's not going to. When you look at Volk, it's not in his DNA to think about retirement right now. Right now, you know what Volk is thinking to himself? Damn, I'm 36, mate. I just beat Diego Lopez. I'm back on top. I could probably take out everybody again. I beat the curse. He's drinking his own Kool-Aid too much, which is cool. He deserves it. He beat a historical stat. And on top of that, he's a 2-time featherweight champion now. And on top of that, he's one defense away from, I believe, beating or tying Jose Aldo for the all-time defenses. So if you're Volk, at this point, you're just chasing the ghost of Jose Aldo.
I mean, yes, but that's why we're talking about Bibishi, right?
Mafsar Evloev?
Yes.
Yes, you beat him.
That's your defense. You tie. But you're still, again...
There's one more. And I know they're friends.
You're my friend.
Volk versus Merab.
I mean, that would be a fun fight.
You know what I'm saying?
But I don't think Merab is going to be able to handle Volk. That's just another name for Volk.
I don't know. That card, Merab has nasty cardio.
That's fine.
Maybe
but he's just as chinny as fucking Volk.
Yeah. So who's more chinny?
Doesn't matter. Merab's going to wrestle him.
And Volk can nullify it.
That's my point.
But see, there's just these little matchups that are left. There's, there's really nothing else that Volk has to offer.
Look, Volk, take it from me. I think you should retire. I think the more exciting fight right now is going to be Diego Lopez versus Yair.
So let's get to it then. So we talked about what's next for Volk, what he has to offer. You think Lopez versus Yair is a fight to make?
Duh.
UFC Mexico.
Fine.
Guadalajara.
Sure.
September.
Winner takes the Aztec fucking belt.
This isn't boxing. Because it seems like Yair is hell-bent on getting a title shot.
Nah. You gotta go with the Diego right now. The hype is there. The fucking bad bloods right there.
You got the guy who's adopted Mexico as their own, and Mexico seems to have embraced him. And you have the man who's from Mexico saying, no, you're not Mexican.
But lives in Chicago.
Hey, he lives with Juliana Pena, that's all I'm saying, you know what I'm saying?
They're dating?
No, I wish I was, though. Respectfully.
Respectfully to who?
To Juliana.
Oh.
Easy there, big fella. So as far as what's next for Lopez, I think he really does need to adjust a lot of things from a strategical standpoint. Maybe have a talk with his corner about what kind of bullshit advice they were giving him. You know what I'm saying? That is the same corner as Bilal and Juliana Pena, so I hope that corner also shows up for Bilal JDM. I'm just saying. Although JDM as champ is no better anyways. But I think Lopez and Yair is a fight to make. Yair's now fourth in the featherweight rankings. He's on a 1-fight win streak, which I don't think is enough, especially when you beat 37-year-old Patricio Pitbull. Okay, I get it. That's Bellator's all-time great. But this fight would have been a lot better 5 years ago. As far as where Yair is, like in terms of where he stacks up in terms of the title shot picture, I don't think he can nullify Mausar and shoot.
The difference in styles between Diego Lopez and Yair is what makes it interesting also.
Well, they're both fun fights.
Yeah.
Fun fighters to watch.
So,
who do you think? Who do you favor?
I think momentum's still on Diego Lopez's side. We've seen Yair try to go all the way to the top, and
You think we've seen Yair's ceiling?
Not 100%, but
because he looked really good.
Because if he cannot get through Diego Lopez, and yes, we definitely saw the ceiling.
I think it's a close fight between the two. Only because I feel like Yair still has a lot more experience than Lopez still. And on top of that, Yair's more dynamic than Lopez. It's just that Lopez is dynamite.
This is so amazing how Diego is on a winning streak and you're on him. You're fucking just riding him all the way to the top. And now that he took the L, now suddenly you have other fighters who are beating him in your mind.
I didn't say Yair beats him.
It's fucking crazy how hard you ride and then you just hop off.
We are impartial. We don't have favorites.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. I don't glaze certain orange-haired Mexicans.
Yes, you do.
You do more.
Damn.
What I'm saying is, like, Yair still... Lopez, what he showed me is a huge gap of lack of experience when it comes to big-time fights. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, yes, he beat the shit out of Brian Ortega, but Brian Ortega voluntarily puts his face in danger.
Yes.
So Brian Ortega's not Volk.
No.
And to his credit, even Yair is not Ortega when it comes to that.
Yes. Even though Ortega fucking choked him.
That's because Ortega, what he has over the other two, is really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And
ugly teeth.
Super dangerous submission by ugly teeth. But goddamn, you know that man can take any woman he wants. Let's be real.
Yeah. Except you, baby. He will never take you.
God had to put a flaw in Brian's face, so that's what it was. So I think Yair versus Lopez is a fight to make. I don't think Yair qualifies or can currently get a title shot, especially because we've seen Yair Volk. Like, we know what that's about, and I don't think anything changes right now.
Mm-mm.
So I'm not really jumping out of my seat for Yair versus Volk. I would like to see, like you said, Yair versus Lopez. It would just be perfect as like maybe a co-main for UFC Mexico, which is UFC 320. It's just that it is a long time for both of them to wait for Volk, and Volk is out here trying to say, because he talked about in the press conference, he's like, I would like to come back maybe July or August.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can win that fight, I'll come back for September, and I can give Yair his fight in Guadalajara. And I'm like, that's cool. But doesn't Volk also deserve an Australia card at this point?
If he's not asking for it, doesn't matter what he deserves.
I think Dana talked about it in his press conference. That's why they asked Dana, like, if they did an Australia card, once again in Sydney, would you be able to put Volk on there? Because he's never defended. It's always been Izzy or Whitaker. Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, he absolutely deserves that kind of fight. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know exactly what the planning period is looking like in the UFC calendar year, but if you could do Mavsar, Volk in
July.
Australia, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That could work. Well, July is going to be, I think, International Fight Week, but I could be wrong.
It's okay. We have multiple Saturdays in July, so it's okay. We can figure it out.
And since we brought up Yair, it's only right that we bring up the newcomer, Patricio Pitbull. He's
36.
He is every bit of the 37-year-old that he is. You can tell Yair respected his hands. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to... Yair, this was a boring fight by all accounts on a Yair aspect. Because you could tell he really respected Patricio's hands. Patricio's obviously known for being a devastator in Bellator. I just didn't see enough out of Pitbull to tell me, like, you're going to be a game changer. Like the way when Chandler walked into the lightweight division. Mm. But I do think there is a fight to make for Pitbull before he can really call it a career.
Which is?
Jose Aldo.
I mean, Jose's on a winning streak, so...
No, he lost. He got robbed against Mario Bautista.
I don't think I watched that one.
Of course you didn't. So, this is my co-host, ladies and gentlemen.
Hola.
I think if Aldo can make 145, I know he's at 135, if he can make 145 just one more time, I wouldn't mind it. International Fight Week, Aldo, Pitbull, one of, if not still the greatest featherweight of all time, versus the greatest Bellator fighter of all time.
That'd be cute.
Aldo 45.
But the problem is that none of them are going to retire after that.
No, probably not, but they're probably going to get cut. Aldo's the embodiment of the Manny Pacquiao of MMA. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. If not, then, you know, Pitbull says he's got a couple names in mind. He still wants to keep fighting, which is fine. Like, he didn't look bad. He just didn't look like he belonged in there quite yet with a guy like Yair. But if you could give me Pitbull versus Brian Ortega.
I don't know. I mean, it's not like Brian is losing anything. Like, he's still on the same fucking average, you know.
Middle of the pack kind of guy.
Middle of the pack type of vibes. You know.
There's really nothing.
Yeah, I think what you said about Jose Aldo was
Is the best one.
Yeah.
And they both call it a career.
100%.
Two all-time greats, just kind of meeting. Yeah, I think so too, honestly.
I agree for you.
But props to Pitbull. I mean, it was a long time coming. Too little, too late. I get it. But since we completely jumped over it, because we mentioned Yair and Pitbull, I guess we should talk about the King of the North.
I didn't completely forget. It's just that one went with the other, so I assume we just
Featherweight.
transition. But yes, the North doesn't know another king whose name is not Paddy Pimblett.
What now? What now?
Look, Julian, you've laughed at me for the last 2 years because I've been entertained by a man like Paddy Pimblett. But listen to me when I say this. Paddy's no joke. He's shown that he's more than just a joke.
He's no joke because he looks more yoked. I'm not gonna lie, he looks bigger than what he did when he came to the UFC.
Call it what you want, my boy. Call it what you want, my boy. But he's got skills that's paying the bills.
So topic number 3, Paddy Pimblett steamrolls over Michael Chandler in a devastating ground and pound kind of way. I didn't picture it coming to this. I've actually, everything Paddy did, I thought Chandler was going to be the one to do. And I thought Paddy would just kind of coast through like a decisional win. But Paddy showed
that he was about it. He even licked fucking Chandler's blood off his hands. He was like, amazing. Savage.
I'll say this. Paddy's career has been very methodically made. He has been granted excellent matchmaking. Fighting a guy who's 39 years old, you know.
So now you're making excuses?
No. Let me explain. He's fighting a guy who's 39 years old, Michael Chandler, who took 2 years off basically to rot his career away, trying to call out Paddy's daddy, Conor McGregor. So, you know, fair play to him. I think Chandler's done as a legitimate, you know, lightweight threat. I think at this point he now becomes a doormat. And I say that in the most respectful kind of way. It's just that
because he's fun.
You can tell Dana loves him.
He competed. But yes, Chandler's always just a little short. Literally.
Yeah. Dana had the perfect comparison as to who Michael Chandler is. The Arturo Garry of UFC.
Arturi. Or Sean Porter.
Yes.
Always falling short, but you're great.
And you will continue to be given what you want so long as you entertain the masses.
Yes.
Are you not entertained?
Mm-hmm.
But
Paddy said, I respect Dustin, Justin, Charles,
and that posh boy.
But he said, fuck Armin.
Yeah.
So Armin and Paddy need to get this going.
I would like that to see a fight. Like I said, I'm tired of seeing Paddy fighting elder statesmen. It's because, let's be honest, Paddy's one of the second one. I know Armin did it, but Armin kind of fumbled the bag. But Paddy is the second new gen to kind of break through the barrier. Mm-hmm. He had the easiest one of the barrier, the easiest one. Let's be completely honest. All right, it ain't like a certain other fighter who had to try to go through Gaethje twice, who's probably the second best lightweight in the division. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I would love to see Paddy versus unnamed lightweight, but we'll get to that later on. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes it gets to a point with Paddy where if you want something, you're going to have to get it done yourself. Mm-hmm. And I know that unnamed lightweight beats Paddy. Doesn't matter.
I would love to see the little Toro fucking try.
Oh, I wasn't actually talking about the little Torito. That little Toro will destroy Paddy. No, I was talking about a more realistic one, maybe. If said fighter can get his win.
What are we talking about, Julian? Let the people know what you want.
I'm probably going to be the only one in this entire MMA social media platform to say this. But if Rafael Fiziev can get a win against Bahamondes, give me Fiziev Paddy.
You really want to fucking be disappointed.
You really don't want to see Paddy get knocked out, do you? You think Paddy can go toe-to-toe with Justin Gaethje the way Fiziev has for 2 straight fights?
No, but I think Paddy has a different style of fighting.
And do you think that style you've seen Fiziev fight?
Short.
Fiziev?
Short.
But younger.
Okay.
They're the same age.
Well, yes. See, going from a Chandler fight to a Fiziev fight, where they're very similar, yes, it makes sense right now. That's a good step-up version of Chandler. But you're underestimating Paddy at this point, thinking Fiziev is the one again. Fiziev, the one who's going to go down in weight.
I'm a little disappointed he didn't go to featherweight. Right now's the perfect time to go to featherweight.
No.
But that's another topic.
Paddy's going to send his ass down.
Patty. We'll talk about who Patty called out. He said Dustin.
Dustin,
How
Justin, Charles.
How does he do against Dustin?
Look, any between Dustin, Justin, Charles, Arman, and Islam, Ilya. Those are all.
He didn't call out Ilya. You know why he didn't, but
I'm not. I'm adding Ilya. It doesn't matter who you call.
Okay.
Those are all very tough fucking fights. I'm not favoring Patty in any of them.
I would favor him against. I would say it's a solid pick him against Dustin. I think Dustin has kind of reached like the end. But Dustin's not gonna fight him. Let's just be completely honest. He knows he's got one more fight. He's gonna do the Holloway fight. Ooh, Holloway versus Patty would be interesting too, but he didn't call him up. What was the next name? Justin. I think Justin KOs him.
Possibly, yeah.
Again, sledgehammer for hands. Justin. Charles has a date with El Toro. All right, you let Charles get destroyed by him.
Oye, pendejo.
And so that when leaves in the table is Posh Boy, Arman. So I have it all figured out now. The next title fight for Islam, don't be a pussy, don't go to fucking welterweight. Islam, Justin, Ilya, Charles, Arman, Patty.
And winner start fucking.
If Islam beats Justin,
winner of Charles.
go to welterweight. Go get your belt. No, wait for it. Go try to get your belt against Shafkat or whoever's welterweight champion. Wait for it.
When Charles beats Ilya, he needs that fucking get back.
Charles Ilya, Potty the Body, Arman winner, interim title fight.
No.
Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen. I hope you know. And you know it's pretty realistic, huh?
No.
By the way, Charles isn't beating Ilya. Posh boy. You sausage.
Fucking. Oh, now you wanna fucking take his fucking.
No, it's not his. It's English. They like don't.
No, but you know damn well who fucking talks like that.
Is English name calling not funny to you? Like sausage, helmet, shroom. You gang of shrooms. Like it's just food.
It's funny that now you're laughing with Patty.
I'm not laughing with Patty because did you see his altercation with Colby?
Yeah, but he's fucking breaks Colby.
You think Colby's just clout chasing?
Yes, of course.
He said he'll fraud check his ass real quick.
Of course, because now he saw that he's legit and he's like, okay, well, he's not the top 6. So.
Well, to be honest, that fight makes 0 sense because, again, Colby just keeps. For whatever reason, Colby likes to call out lightweights. He's a welterweight. I think the right fight to make is Patty versus Arman. Because if he goes with anybody else, he's probably going to lose. And honestly, I think even Saryukin is a favorite over Patty.
Of course he is. I wouldn't favor Patty with any of the top 5.
You wouldn't favor him?
No.
You see, but that's Patty's whole thing is like, you want to say I'm a top 15?
You go back like 3 videos where we were talking on the Tony Ferguson fight, right? And I literally said, Patty's fun. But once he breaks top 5, I don't think he goes anything beyond that.
So it still stands.
Yeah, bro, we just talked about this, that this is like the toughest top 5 fucking in the world's history of the UFC. Like, you have to be very different to fucking get through Dustin, Justin, Charles, Posh Boy, and the Torito now.
That was good. Yeah, because like I look at Dan Hooker at 6. Really, the name that I see there is Ilya Topuria.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, there is one fight that we were talking about off camera that I would actually really root for Patty, and that's against Mateusz Gamrot. Only because I hate Gamrot because he's a fraud, and I say that with every breath of my Polish being. But you know, props to Patty. Now, as far as Chandler, what's next for Chandler?
Like you said, he's a fun fighter. He's gonna gatekeep for a while until he decides to fucking flip the switch, retire, or he gets a fucking Conor fight again.
I'm surprised Beneil Dariush is alive. I think there's a couple of good fights to make for Chandler. It's funny that Dan Hooker's at 6 and Michael Chandler's at 12. When Chandler made his debut, obliterated Hooker.
So let's just rematch that.
To try to see if we could get Chandler back in the top 6. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. There's actually a couple good fights. You could do Dan Hooker. You could do... I mean, if Chandler really wants to make just fun fights, and it's right there beside him, if Fiziev can get his win against Bahama on this, Fiziev Chandler.
Yeah, but now you're talking about possibly Chandler again taking another L.
Chandler
What
Santini.
was the last time Chandler had a dub?
A dub? It was Tony Ferguson.
How long ago?
I think it was in 2021.
Exactly. Let the man have a fucking victory.
So you're afraid that Chandler's gonna be the next Tony Ferguson?
No, I'm saying like the man needs a fucking.
So Connor?
Yeah, let him get Connor, not Patty.
Look, it's up to Connor. Connor's clearly being a cocksucker though.
Connor's clearly fucking retired.
His last win was Tony Ferguson in May 7th, 2022. And it was the KO front kick. Since then, he lost by submission to Dustin Poirier, which I think was a solid fight. Then he lost to Charles Oliveira, solid fight. He rallied in the 5th, kind of had me shaking a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. And then he got steamrolled by Patty. But before Tony, he's 1-5 in his last, or 1-6 in his last 6. And then, yeah, so literally his only 2 wins are Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson since coming to the UFC in 2021. Before that, he was beating Benson Henderson, lost to Pitbull. Yeah, like Chandler, if it wasn't for his style, he would have gotten cut by the UFC by now. Like, this is his UFC career.
Yeah.
Like, let's be completely honest here.
Just fun, but tough.
And look how active he was. But then...
And then he waited for fucking Connor.
That's really where his career really went to shits, is kind of letting his body rot away.
But it's not really rotted. Like, he just has a different style that doesn't help him.
No, it's a very old school style now,
Yeah.
where it's like you plant your feet, you try to land bombs, and you just kind of rugged it out.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Patty, you can tell he's kind of that new age style.
Yeah, boy, yeah.
So, props to that sausage. We'll see where Pimply goes from here.
Okay.
We'll see if he can if he breaks into the top 5, like if he beats Armin, what are we gonna say?
What are you gonna say?
You're the one that said he doesn't break.
You're the one who thinks he's a joke from fucking...
Because let's be honest, I'll say this. Patty early in his career was a bit of a jackass, especially when he was a hunting.
Still is.
But he doesn't talk as much shit anymore.
He talked a lot of shit.
When he wins, but like beforehand, like in the press conference, if you notice, he was just kind of chill, just like, whatever. I think having twins and having kids did mature him a little bit.
I'm still a fucking immature person with twins. What are you talking about? I'm as immature as he comes.
You are actually the Mexican Salvadorian Patty Pimplett. Now I'm thinking about it. You salchicha.
Cha-cha-cha. Anyways, before that, we had Bryce Mitchell and Gene Silva.
So, I feel bad for Bryce.
Yes.
Like, are you starting to get that feeling too?
Because Gene Silva, in my humble opinion, was toying with Bryce Mitchell.
He looked annoying, like, to watch as a fan. Like, it's like...
He wasn't even trying. He was looking away. He was playing.
He looked like he was purposely slow on him.
Yeah.
Like, it looked like Gene, if he wanted to, within a minute, could have just ended Bryce like that.
I think so.
But he just toyed with him. In which I get it. It was...
And then Bryce, I don't know. Maybe I just had not paid attention before. But what was all this? Bryce Mitchell. You know what I'm saying?
So let's be honest here. Bryce is probably the new Ben Askren of the UFC. He has zero stand-up. Like, that is what he will continue to go through what he goes through for 2 reasons. 1, he lacks stand-up. And 2, he doesn't have a gym. He doesn't go to a gym. He trains in the backyard of his goddamn ranch in Searcy, Arkansas, picking up logs and doing weight trainings in that sense of the matter. So if you think your wrestling, your jiu-jitsu is really what's going to carry you, you're just another Brent Askren or a Ryan Hall, and we've seen both of those guys get completely starched by fighters. And we've seen Bryce get starched.
Mm-hmm.
But we've also seen Bryce come back and starch people. Like in the fight after that horrible knockout from Emmett to Bryce, Bryce came back and starched I forgot who it was, but he had a KO of the year contender. So I'm just like, Bryce looks like a guy who has every ability that you can kind of ask for in a fighter if he would go and hone it in a gym.
Yeah, because if he's done this by himself to this point, now imagine if he has real coaching. The thing is, after this fight, don't be surprised if Dana cuts him.
Or he suicides, if I'm gonna be completely honest. Because I don't say that in the lightest term, but what I mean by that is like I feel like the media has really kind of
attacked him,
put a bullseye on him
to a corner.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know why. Every time I see Bryce talk, I feel like he wants to cry.
He does. I think he's just holding it in because he doesn't understand the fucking position he put himself in.
That's a key word though, right there. He put himself in. Like, it's like you want to feel bad for Bryce, but at the same time, he's just a guy who's like standing on his fucking two balls, and he says what he says. But we're not gonna get into the political aspect of it. We're here to talk about the fight itself.
Yeah, look, he got unranked after this fight. The rankings were updated. My boy is not even on the top 15, right? Mm-hmm. So if I had to guess, look, he's getting kicked out of the UFC. Dana didn't like the controversy he brought into the UFC. This was Dana's excuse. So,
and you got a guy like Aaron Pico coming in. Featherweights are disposable right now.
Yep. But Gene, I don't feel like I learned a lot. He was playing with his food. Obviously, he looks good, but
I'll tell you this. This is where the point of topic conversation comes in for this topic. Silva disposed of Bryce Mitchell faster than Topuria did. Topuria just did it more dominantly, like more punishingly on Bryce. But does John Silva not look like a title contender to you? A future title contender?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like the dude, he's fun to watch. Mm-hmm. He can promote his fights however he wants to. Sometimes he can be a little cringy. I get it.
That little barking got annoying.
When you do it like here and there, like if you do it like once when you're staring at your opponent, just go like that, just one time, like it's cool. But when you're doing it like every single move that you do, that's a little too much. But at the same time, Silva looks like the kind of guy who I already know who I want to see him against. The other Bryce killer, Josh Emmett. And then from there, you can really put in Silva against like maybe a Brian Ortega. I know Leron Murphy's coming up in the rankings. Silva looks like he's a fun fighter. He just lacks discipline. Mm-hmm. But then again, Fighting Nerds, they're now 18-0.
Yeah.
We'll get more on the Fighting Nerds later. They're just a bunch of hoodlums, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
But Silva looked good. I liked where it again. He showed jackass tendencies, but he also showed like he can get shit done quick when he wants to. Mm-hmm. So we'll see where he goes from here. Topic number 5, though, we talk about resurgence and new contenders. Let's talk about a comeback story. Dominic Reyes devastatingly knocking out Nikita Krylov to now put himself in the middle of the pack of the light heavyweight division.
Everyone was comparing that fucking knockout to the Conor Aldo.
It was the exact same scenario. And here's the thing about Dominic. In the last video, or a video or two ago, I said Dominic is like Leon Edwards. He's an athlete who doesn't have a fighter's heart, right? Mm-hmm. And I say that because I think Dominic himself has kind of like outed himself in the past of saying that like he started doing MMA late in his life, and he was just really good at it because he liked football. And he said, I was really good at this and I just kept doing it. Those are the signs of a guy that tells me you rely so much on your athleticism that like you're cocky and you're good because your mind knows it, but does your heart know it? So after I seen him knock out Nikita, him wanting to tear up and say, I still have one more fight before I can think about a title shot, that tells me like your heart's finally in the right place now. Like you're putting it all together now. Because let's not forget, Dominic Reyes is the guy that made John Jones look bad. Like, not too long ago. It's just that his strength of schedule is horrible. You lose to John Jones. You get devastatingly knocked out by Jan Blachowicz. Then you get devastatingly knocked out by Yuri Prochaska. What do those two have in common? They became champions after Dominic. Mm-hmm. Then you have your 4th fight that you lose. That's where everybody starts kind of throwing dirt on your body at this point. But to come back now and win 3 straight in a row, all by knockout, I think Dominic has a case
discipline
of shaking up this division. This division needs to shake up if I'm going to be, because we have Pereira and Kalaev, then we kind of really have everybody else trying to look for their spot.
Everyone else trying to get through Yuri.
Yeah, Yuri is a gatekeeper. So like, if Dominic, I don't think is ready for Yuri yet. And I know he says one more, then he'll think of a title shot. I think I got 2 more for him. I think he should face the winner of Jamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree, and then
Yuri
or Olberg, depending on how that's looking.
Mm-hmm.
But I love a comeback story. And you can tell Dominic you can tell he went through a lot of depression before like all of this. So I think it's a good thing for the light heavyweight division, because if Reyes can just continue to run this up, I wouldn't mind Reyes versus Pereira for the title next year.
That's a big if. Well, okay. We'll see. Because next year, Alex should have the Tom Aspinall fucking fight for the title. Heavyweight.
You don't think Alex, if he beats Ankalaev, he looks at the division and goes, I still can murk a lot of these dudes and just become the all-time best and just...
I mean, yes, but I don't know. Although Alex, with his little fucking memes and shit, he's over here fucking losing credibility as, are you really serious about what's next?
This is the same man that just lectured me about Volk.
But Volk did it.
Volk was out here cooking.
And look what he did.
Pereira can't do it. Pereira can cook too.
No, he didn't.
Pereira's higher than Volk on the all-time list.
No, he's not. We just looked at it.
No. That was pound for pound. You know exactly. Actually, he is. He's right behind him. So props to Dominic Reyes. Krylov, he showed every little bit of ring rust, being gone for 2 years. But that was UFC 314. As far as I know, how were our picks? We said Reyes would win.
All my picks were on point.
No, because you didn't pick Patty, you fool. I have video evidence of you saying Chandler wins.
No. I picked Patty on my fucking actual parlay picks.
Oh, you're betting. I thought we didn't bet.
Oh, I bet. Bet.
And how much did you win?
Enough to make you happy.
Enough to maybe have hung out with me?
No, because I wouldn't have been the same night.
He doesn't like to hang out with me, guys.
It's okay.
Yeah, it is okay because he has other people to do it for him.
Myself.
Something like that. And then we go to topic number 6. We look to the future. And speaking of the fighting nerds, and John Silva, his big brother, returns. Carlos Prates versus Ian Machado Garry.
This is definitely a what's the word I'm looking for?
A
breakout fight.
4?
Either one.
So we're still...
Because again, Garry gave fucking Shavkat the fight of his fucking night.
Mm-hmm.
So either he's gonna prove he really is him, and other people really need to fucking step up their game, or it's gonna be vice versa. Carlos Prates is gonna show that he can beat someone as competitive as Ian Garry.
Well, I'll say this. So, you know, in the fighting nerds, they're combined 18-0. Prates is probably fighting the most toughest opposition of all the fighting nerds at this point. Mm-hmm. And me personally, of the fighting nerds, it's between Prates and Ruffy for who's my favorite, and then it's Silva and Barajo. But Prates has died in my hands. The dude is just a net. I know we've talked about his extracurricular activities outside of the octagon. You know, he hates being sober. I'm excited, and I don't know how to call it because I know Machado Garry is also coming. He probably learned a lot from a Shavkat fight. Because Garry doesn't look like he's stupid. He looks like he's the kind of guy to adjust. Mm-hmm. And Prates kind of looks like the guy to just rely on those hands for dynamites. You know what I'm saying?
So again, it's a solid breakout fight.
I think it's a pick'em.
Yep, I would agree.
You know, I know Garry.
Technically, Ian has a little more on the experience side just because he took on someone like Shavkat, but
and he's younger.
But I think this is a pick'em.
But it's not a lot of people that have more reach advantage on Machado Garry. But Prates has a 78-inch reach advantage.
Yeah, but see, Ian's got them long legs, though. You know what I'm saying?
So does Prates, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, we agree it's a pick 'em.
You know,
It's a pick 'em.
I think if you absolutely have to bet on that, you go Prates knockout or Garry by decision.
There you go.
But if Machado does get knocked out, I'm coming back for you.
Why?
Because you support the man.
I'm okay. He earned your respect, did he not?
He earned my respect, but he's still a cuck.
Okay, well, I think he respectfully deserves respect on this one until further notice.
But it's because I'm a big Prates fan.
That's fine. But if he loses,
there goes another.
I'm coming back for you.
So, I think it should be a good fight. Prates again holds the power advantage. Garry, I think, will hold the experience and the technical advantage. So, as far as other notable fights on this card, Anthony Smith versus Zhang Mingying, right? And Giga Chikadze is back. We got Michelle Pereira, always a fun fighter to watch. But stellar fight night. We'll see what happens from here. As far as any news goes, I don't think there was anything, huh? So that's it. That's all we got for the UFC side of things and everybody's reactions. So as always, hit the like, share, and the subscribe button. We'll be back for the reaction to Prates versus Garry. And we also have a stacked fight night coming out next weekend as well. We'll give the preview for that. So as always, keep hitting the like, share, and the subscribe button, everybody. We appreciate everybody's support. Para la gente en español que les prestaron las capciones en el principio del video, gracias por su apoyo. As always, we keep hitting the reactions as much as we can, as disciplined as we can. But until then, catch you guys on the next one. Peace.